I wasn't planning on doing a reading vlog today, but here we are. Happy Saturday, you've got yourself a reading vlog. The reason I've done it is because my mental health's in a tough spot, and just like a lot of you come to my channel because I talk openly about mental health and it helps you feel less alone, I come here and I just voice my feelings and thoughts to you lot, because obviously my wife can only carry so much weight, and it's nice to put it out there to the world. Now, please don't feel sympathy for me. I've got everything under control, but I am going to talk openly and honestly about struggles, because I think it's important that we recognise when we are struggling and what we can do to overcome them. And this is what I do. I come online, I talk to thousands of people about books because that's what makes me feel better. It gives me a bit of accountability. But I also want to start from the start of my videos telling you what my video is going to contain, because I don't want to become one of them clickbaity YouTube channels where I drag people in under false pretenses. So this video is going to contain my last read and my thoughts on it, 2 of my current reads and what I'm thinking of them currently, and my next planned read, plus a bit of book mail. It's going to be all book stuff. There's going to be mental health chats and stuff as well. I thought if I start doing at the start of my videos what the video is going to contain, then it'll get rid of riffraff that just don't want this page, because I appreciate that there's people out there that want these really well manufactured pages with really wicked editing and people that can thoroughly break down books and stuff. Like, you're not going to get that here. You're just going to get a dude in a room with slippers, their great granddad slippers, just talking about books. I love it. I love books. I love talking to you. Like, it's just class. So that's what we're doing today, because I need it. Hopefully you need it. I don't know what time it is wherever you are in the world watching this video, but just grab a drink, chill out, because this is definitely going to be one of them chilled videos. For anyone that's new to the channel, this is Sky. I'm sat here today because wherever I sat, she followed me, so I thought I'd just come and sit next to her bed. Right, we're going to start off with the book that I finished most recently, which was Lord of the Rings Part 2, Their Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'll start with the positives of this book first. I rated it 4.5 stars, so obviously I enjoyed it. The positives to this book: the world is mad, it's massive, there's trees everywhere, there's all sorts of creatures, orcs and flying stuff, wizards, magic. It's class, very good. Everything you'd want in a fantasy book. Characters are wicked. I really like the relationship between Legolas and Gimli. Aragorn's a legend. I said before in the previous video, I wish he were my dad. Frodo, he's right brave. Sam Gamgee, loyal as oat. There's a bunch of characters, they're class. They're all right good. We all know that. I don't need to go on any more about how good the characters are. The plot, I enjoy. I like a there and back again story. I don't know, it's a weird feeling. I've read a fair bit of fantasy now, and it's just a feeling that you get once you dive into this story. I feel like Middle Earth just feels completely different to anywhere else. I feel in it. I don't know if that makes any sense to you at all. Look, you're not going to get really well articulated book reviews on this page. I'm just going to tell you how it makes me feel, and that's how it makes me feel. I feel in it with them. I feel like we're all on this mad adventure together. I feel like I'm going there. I feel like I'm going there and back again with them, and we're just trying to find this big volcano to yeet this ring in. So that's how it makes me feel, and I think that's why I scored it so highly, because when a book makes you feel something, then it's a good book. The only things I mark this book down for is, just as much as I love how massive the world is, it's also quite overwhelming. I struggle a lot with books when there's loads of names, loads of places, and it's a me problem, but I do. I tend to find that books that I've got maybe 2 or 3 points of view, not loads of characters, just go in my little brain a bit easier. But what I'm learning since I've started reading more epic fantasy is that sometimes it's not going to all make sense. You just have to kind of keep reading, go with flow, and eventually something will click. I'm still waiting for that part to click, because there's just names and places in this book that have just popped up and then they bugger off. It's almost like Tolkien would just sat there and thought, I'm just going to chuck a random name, just a name drop, just, I don't know, like Elfin Van Dwinkle, boom. And I'm just like, who's this? There's not a character called Elfin Van Dwinkle. It was just first thing that come to my head. But it's just like, boom, let me just name drop that character in there, and then I'll mention it never again. And I'm sure that it's probably going to come back in at some point. I get it, because I've got this book actually here, look. So HarperCollins sent me this massive art book, and in it there's like loads of, obviously, art, but then there's things in it that say like Frecker's Death and Endora's Inner Gate. What else we got? Mumak Pursuit, and then pictures of massive elephants, and all these things that I'm reading here, like none are at me note to me. I can't remember any of that happening in book. So I'm guessing I've either missed it or there's just way more to this lore than my mind's at least ready for yet. I think it's just going to be one of them series that the more I reread Lord of the Rings, the more I'll pick up on. I'll be like, I didn't have a clue that happened last time. Didn't have a clue that happened last time. So I'm just going with flow. I'm stressing less about the stuff that I'm missing, and I'm just going to have fun. Look, it's the there and back again adventure. I'm with the lads. We'll go in there and back again. If I forget stuff en route, we'll go there and back again. That's my thought process now behind this series. The only other thing I marked it down on, I'm very character driven in books, and although I love all the characters in it, but I don't understand why they are the way they are. If that makes any sense to you at all. A lot of the times I'll read books and I'll go, right, okay, so this character's got trust issues, but why have they got trust issues? And then there might be some backstory as to how they were betrayed in past, and now they don't trust anyone, and now they're trying to work on trusting people again. Whereas I don't understand why Sam Gamgee is as loyal as he is to Frodo. Maybe I missed something in a previous chapter, I don't know. It just feels like everything that Frodo does, Sam Gamgee's like, yeah, I'll do it, Frodo's doing it, whatever. Not bothered if I die. Yeah, I'm with Frodo. But I just don't understand why he's so loyal to Frodo. But again, I have said before, I've got a terrible memory. Maybe I've missed something. So if I have missed something, by all means tell me. But I think that book's going to help me, that they've sent me, because there's loads of backstory in there and art and stuff. And yeah, who knows? Anyway, that's my only critiques about this book. It were slow. I'm not going to pretend it weren't slow. There's a lot of walking, a lot of talking, some trees. Them trees are kind of cool. I've heard that there's a lot of backstory and lore behind are they called elks? Emps? There's 3 letters, begins with an E. Anyway, them trees are class. It's just a good place. I don't think I've read any other fantasy book where I felt so immersed in a world, even though it is massive and overwhelming. I just, like I said, I feel like I'm there. We're all there together, and it's good. But I didn't dive straight into Return of the King because Tolkien's writing's not the most accessible. It is sometimes quite difficult to read the way that he writes. It's not Old English, is it? But it was written, I don't know, 30s, 40s. So obviously English has come on a bit. It's a bit more modern now. So I will dive into Return of the King probably in March. I'm not going to be able to finish it this month now because I've already got my last book of the month planned. Which is here. I'll show you that in a minute. But anyway, yeah, Two Towers, enjoyed it. Right, now I'm going to talk to you about what I'm currently reading, and it's these. Usually, I only read one book at a time, but I couldn't decide what I wanted to read. I wanted sci-fi and fantasy, so I picked up both, and I thought, yeah, why not? Now, if I could score these based off of how quick I've read them, I'd say that Golden Sun might be the better book out of these two, only because I've got like 5% left of Golden Sun and I'm halfway through Kings of the Wyld. However, both these books slap. I'll talk through one at a time. We'll do Kings of the Wyld first by Nicholas Eames. As I said, I'm halfway through. I don't know if you can hear this bookmark. It's just slapping against book. It's very annoying. Anyway, funny story. I was sat having a poo the other day, and my wife shouted at me. She said, Ty, Lisa's at the door. Lisa's one of my neighbours. And, my wife shouted upstairs and she says, Ty, I know you're on the toilet, but Lisa's brought you a bookmark round. So then Lisa shouts upstairs and she says, Tyrone, I've ordered 4 bookmarks. No, I've ordered 1 bookmark and 4 have come. Do you want one? I was like, yeah, free bookmark for show. So she gave it me. And then when I came downstairs after I'd wiped my bum, I read the bookmark and it was kind of cool. It says, F off, I'm reading, but it says the actual word. I just don't want to say it in case it puts my video about my algorithm and stuff. So, it's just a little bit annoying because it slaps against me book, but who cares? ASMR? Anyway, this book's class. So, I am rubbish normally at telling you what books are about, but I'm going to give it a go. So, I want you to imagine this is set in a world that's like, I don't know, in past. Does that help you to understand what kind of characters we're dealing with? Blokes in long dresses and stuff, and swords and shields. Yeah. I am, like people dress in Game of Thrones series, they dress like that, so it's probably set like back in them days. So I want you to picture this. We're back in them days, and there's a group of young lads, about a 20-year-old. You've got a gay wizard, you've got a bloke that's got a right hard sword, like the hardest sword in the lands. His name's Gabriel, I think. You've got a man called Clay, who's just really hard. He's like main character, or at least he gives main character vibes. Then you got another person called Gabe Don. I think that's what his name is. He's not as built as all the rest of them, but he's right hard and right nimble, and he's like hardest out of all of them, and he just sends all creatures to Jesus. And then there's one more called Matty something or other. He turns out to be a king in this book. That's not a spoiler because he's a king right at the start, and then it like I'll come to it, trust me. So anyway, they were once rated hard, something happened, and then they retired. And then 20 years later, they've all disbanded, they're all living their own lives, they've got wives and kids, and they're retired, they're overweight, they're out of shape. And one of their daughters, goes off to fight a big war somewhere, and he thinks his daughter might be with Jesus, or she's going to Jesus. So he's like, I need to go and make sure she's okay. I need to go and save her. She might be there, she might not be. I don't know what's happening. So he then goes round trying to get old man them back together. And he's like, lads, we need to get back together. My daughter's in trouble. We need to go and save her. And it's the story of these ex-mercenaries who are now all like 40, 50-year-old, overweight, out of shape, going on this mad adventure there and back again to go and get this fella's daughter, and it is just wild. The dialogue is so funny. The wizard in it is called Moog. I think his name's Moog. He's just hilarious. There's another one, I can't remember what his name is. He's a king. I can't remember what king's name is. Anyway, his name begins with an M and all. He's right funny. They've all got very different personalities, and it just works. The author, it's almost like the author were maybe high when he wrote it, because he just put so many things from fantasy worlds in. I can't think of something that's not any. You've got crystal balls, you've got wands, you've got axes, swords, dragons, wyverns, orcs, it's all in there. It's mad and it's perfect. I highly recommend it. I can't tell you what I'm going to rate it because I'm halfway through, as I said. The only reason I've not read it any quicker is just because of how spectacular Golden Sun is, which I'll talk to you about in a minute. I understand that I've probably butchered what this story is actually about. Don't come to this page expecting one of these well-articulated videos where people can thoroughly break down what a book's about. That's not why I read books. I just read them for a laugh and because they make me feel happy, and they get rid of all stuff that goes on in this brain of mine. So yeah, it's just really good, I promise you. Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. Read it. There's another book called The Bloody Rose or something, which I'm guessing is about one of the king's daughters, because the last that they're going to try and save is called Rose. And she's in a band of her own. She's got her own band of things. It is more than just a fun time, I will say, because as the story progresses, you understand that these bands, their job is to go out into Wyld and hunt basically any creatures that aren't human. And there's almost questions asked through the story as to whether they do have like any sort of moral superiority over these things that they're going out to Santa Jesus. Yeah, I don't know why I said that. It's me trying to make my page a bit more like, I don't know, booky and proper reviewy. That's not me. Anyway, class, read it. Right, next up we've got Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. So I've got literally 5% left in this book, and it is absolutely wicked. I read Red Rising, I don't know, probably about 9 months ago now, and after I read it, I come on my pages and I was like, everyone, this book's class, read it, right good. And then I didn't pick up Golden Sun after I finished it, because that's just what I do. I finish like a book, one, in a series, and then I forget to read book two. I've got such a fear of missing out, so I just flip between loads of different series. I am in between too many series at the minute, and this year I plan on trying to finish some of the series I've actually started. So it's nothing like Red Rising. I think Red Rising I scored 4-star, right, enjoyed it, but that's more dark academia. They're almost in like a war college. So Darrow, who's the main character in Red Rising, he is a Red. It's set in a world where we've moved to Mars and it's colonised, and they've got a tier system there. So reds are the bottom of the food chain, golds are the top. In between, they've got loads of different colours, like pinks are used as almost like sex workers. Then you've got obsidians and you've got browns. You've got all sorts of different colours that have got different purposes on Mars and other planets as well, because it's not just Mars. There's like a planet called Io, Europa, Venus. There's all sorts. There's too much for me to try and think about in a minute, but we'll get to that in a minute. This book's class. There's a lot going on though. So anyway, in book one, some bad stuff happens to Darrow. He's a Red. The golds, look, they just mess him up. They mess his life up. They take everything away from him that he loves, and he's on a revenge tour. So throughout this series, Darrow, who was a Red, is now trying to infiltrate the golds and basically just completely mess them up from inside, destroy them. All the people that are oppressing him is just like, look, I'm going to send you all to Jesus. So that's what the series follows. In book one, it's more war games. So he's trying to find where he belongs. He becomes a gold, which is not really a spoiler because you find that out right at the start. And when you are a Gold, you go to this war college. So there's a lot of trials, a lot of meeting new characters and stuff like that in book 1. Book 2, nothing like that, because that's all happened. He's already kind of found his place, you know where he belongs. Book 2 is the most schemingest, backstabbingest, disloyalist book I've ever read. Some of them aren't even words. I don't care. I've never read a book before where I don't trust a single character. Even Darrow, who's main character in this story, I don't think I trust him. But that's one of the things I love about it so much. As I said, I'm very character-driven in books, and I love when characters are imperfect, and Darrow is the definition of imperfect. Sometimes he makes the right decisions for the wrong reasons. Sometimes he makes the wrong decisions for the right reasons. Sometimes he just makes wrong decisions and for the wrong reasons. It's just like, he's one of the most real characters I've ever read. Especially when you consider that when the book starts, I think he's 17 years old. No 17-year-old's going to make right choices. He makes some stupid choices. But he also tries his best to be loyal and to trust people, even though everything that's happened to him in the past is that he shouldn't let people close to him and he shouldn't trust people. He still tries his best. Trust me, it's just insane. But the only thing that I'd say with this story is don't expect it to be as easy to consume as book 1. Book 1 I thought were quite an easy read. Book 2, not easy at all. There's so much to take in. You've got so many different like political houses on different planets with different characters and leaders to these houses. It's just massive. It is humongous. But similar to what I said about Lord of the Rings, I am slowly learning when it comes to sci-fi and fantasy, especially when it comes to epic series, that I'm just going to stress less about trying to figure out what's going on and then just hope that the author does a good job in tying it all together for me in book 3. I cannot recommend this enough. I am so angry with myself that I put it off for so long. I'm absolutely loving Severo, who is a side character in this. Severo was in book 1 a little bit, but is more involved in this book, and he's brilliant. He's funny, he's real. He wears like a wolf outfit, so that makes him pretty cool. Don't know, I can't explain to you why he's cool. He just is. Look, I like him, you don't have to. It's my reading experience. Anyway, Golden Sun, absolutely slapping. Can't wait to pick this up today and finish it. And then once I've finished it, I'll do a wrap up like at end of month where I talk to you about how class all these books were properly. So now, after talking about Golden Sun, we're now going to go into the book that I'm going to finish the month off with, because I'll have finished Golden Sun today, and then Kings of the Wyld I'll finish it next couple of days, which probably gives me time to get one more book in, because I'm going to take it slow at end of this month. And it's a bit of a chunker. I'm going to, which is unlike me, dive straight into Morning Star, which is book 3 in the Red Rising series. As I've just said to you before, a lot of the time I'll read a book and I'm like, that's insane, then I go to another series. I'm going to try my best this month to go straight into the next book in a series, because I'm already a bit overwhelmed with the amount of characters and places and stuff in Golden Sun. I feel like if I take a break and go to another series and then come back into this, I'm just going to forget all names and characters. But not only that, but Golden Sun's got me hooked, and I don't want to leave that series yet. I'm just not ready. I want to stay with Darrow. And I put a story out the other day on my Insta saying how much I love Golden Sun, and everyone was like, wait till Morning Star. Interestingly enough as well, one of the reasons I put this series off for so long is because I think there's 6 books out so far. No, 5 books out so far, and I've got them all upstairs. And book 6 is coming out this year, I believe. So that put me off, because some of the other books are thick. They are thick. And then I got a message from someone saying, actually, you can read them as individual trilogies. So the first 3 books, which is Red Rising, Golden Sun and Morning Star, kind of all complete together. And then the next 3 books are 10 years after. So I was like, why didn't I know that straight away? If I'd known that straight away, I'd have probably done first 3 and been less overwhelmed with the sheer amount of pages and words. And I get it, like, big books are good when they're good stories, but also I need to put content out there, so I can't just let thick books consume all my time, because if I've got people out there that aren't bothered about watching me talk about Red Rising, I need to be able to talk about other books as well. So yeah, unfortunately, when you're trying to create content, it's not as easy as reading a 1,200-page Brandon Sanderson book and just loving it, because people are also waiting for content for you to talk about books. So that's my plan for the end of this month, is to finish this book, which will wrap up at least this part of that world. And then I don't know what I want to do. I've actually got coming, which I'm so excited for. I sent 2 emails out recently to book publishers. One was at Saga Press, because they are publishers, I think, to The Strength of the Few, which is the second book to The Will of the Many. Now, I've not read The Will of the Many yet, but it's high on my TBR. So my plan is to read Will of the Many probably in March, and then when The Strength of the Few comes through from the publisher, because I'm getting an ARC copy of that, then read that and review it on my page. I've also had an email from another publisher. I can't remember the name of them, but it's whoever publishes The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. They've reached out and said that they're going to send me a copy of The Devils, which is due out in May, I think. And J.R.R. Abercrombie writes wicked characters. It's a new story and a new world, so I'm really excited to read that. Right, so now we've finished talking about books. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my mental health. I'm not in the best place at the minute, I'll be totally honest with you. That's why I've taken a little bit of a step back from my other social media accounts. I've gone to doing like silent reviews. And it's because I find that with my other form of content that I need to put out there, it needs to be more entertaining. I've got to put on sometimes a bit of a persona to engage people. It's short form content, and people that watch TikTok and Instagram don't want this kind of chatty stuff. They want quick and engaging content, and I just can't provide that at the minute because I'm just not there. And I've always said from day dot, I try my best to put real life out on to social media. I don't want to come on here and pretend I'm something I'm not. I don't want to pretend that my life is something it's not. And I feel like by going online and pretending to be in a good place, it just does more harm than good. I'm a big believer that because of the amount of fake lives we see online, it's one of the reasons we feel so shit about our own lives. And I don't want to be another content creator doing that and putting that out to the world. The reason I'm not in a great spot at the minute is all self-esteem related. I spent last year dealing with suicidal thoughts and not feeling joy in anything, looking at my own kids and not seeing them as a reason to stay here. And basically just fighting every single day to not do something stupid. And I'm glad I did. I got through that point, and I'm not going to say I'm there anymore. I'm not. I absolutely know I bring positive energy into this world. I know I bring a lot of people joy. And that makes me happy. But I've spent so much time last year trying to make other people happy that I forgot to focus on myself as well. So I've talked about this in a previous video. I gained 6 stone in the last 12 months, which is so unhealthy. I went from 14 stone to 20 stone, and now I'm here. I'm having so many self-esteem issues, and I just don't feel good in my own body anymore. So that's the main problem with me, is that I think when you put so much weight on, I think sometimes we joke. When you put weight on, we joke a lot of the time and pretend it don't bother us. We're like, ha 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 ha, fat jokes. I've done it, I've been there. But it does bother me, you know. Little things, like the other day I was putting my shoes on and I couldn't breathe. And I thought, bloody hell, how is tying my shoelaces an exercise? Like when you're this big, and I know sometimes people look at me and go, you're not that big. Look, black slimming, I wear black on purpose and I wear oversized clothes on purpose. Trust me, like I have got an hourglass figure. But anyway, I've tied my shoelaces and I'm bent over it. And obviously all my fat must have been pushing my lungs in and stuff. And my fat were like, lungs, you're not breathing. And my lungs were like, please, please. And then I tied my shoelaces. I come up and I were like, ooh, ooh. I come up for air. So that's the problem that I'm dealing with at the minute, is everything around me, like I can see happiness in my kids now. I can see happiness in my wife. But I just don't feel happy in myself, in my body. So I want to do like a big transition this year. I want to start exercising more. I want to start eating better. I used books and eating as my coping mechanism last year. And I know some people use worse things than that. But I'm here now, aren't I? Look, I'm 20 stone. I've got a lot of work I need to do. I need to work on myself. But I just feel like with YouTube, I can come on here and I can still post content where I'm talking. I can be myself. I don't feel judged. I know that there's going to be people out there going through similar things. And people that might even take inspiration from my journey and might be like, look, if Tyrone can do it, I can do it. And I think that's the reason I wanted to do this video today, is I don't need to come onto YouTube and pretend to be something I'm not. I feel like I can come on and I can just talk to you a lot and I can just be honest with myself and with you. I needed this video today. I needed to come on here and not only talk about my mental health, but I just needed to come on here and talk about books and rant. It's an escape for me, and it's a way for me to feel like I'm part of something. That might sound wild to some people. I truly don't care about the numbers. I don't come on social media because I want to have a big presence. I don't care about how many people listen to what I've got to say. I just care that someone listens. But I also care that I'm doing good in like this world. I want to leave this world knowing that I've done something and made a change to someone's lives. But I also want my kids to see this and be like, you know what, Dad wasn't selfish. Dad tried to help others as well. And by coming on and talking about my mental health and my issues with food and weight loss and the fact that I've used food as a coping mechanism for last year, like I want my kids to see that I took a negative experience and I tried to use it for positive to help other people. I know that I'm not going to feel this way forever about my physical appearance. In a month, 2 months, 3 months' time, once I feel a bit better in my clothing and not everything looks like it's sprayed on like a tattoo, I'll feel better. But I also want to know that if I do document this journey, that if you are out there struggling with the same things, that you might be able to start your journey at the same time as me starting this journey, and we can do it together. Even if one person watches this video and thinks, you know what, it's time for me to make a change as well. I'm fed up of tying my shoelaces and getting out of breath. I'm fed up of walking up and down stairs and getting out of breath. Sometimes I get out of breath because I eat food too quick. I shouldn't laugh, it's not funny. But again, I think when you've got problems like this, you try and find humour in it. Where's my dog? She's there, she's asleep. Anyway, I'm done now. I'm going to edit this video so I can try and get it up today for you. And then I'm going charity shopping later. Ruben has got a kids' party to go to, so Ellie's going to take him. I'm dropping him off, and then there's like 5 charity shops where we're taking him that I've never been to before. So, yeah, see if I can find out. Not that I need out. I've got 180 unread books upstairs, but I said this year I'm going to buy books for me. I don't care about consumerism. If buying books makes me happy, I'm going to do it. Because after I've read them, they all go to charity anyway. Just a reminder about taking books to charity. I went to a care home yesterday. My wife's nana's in a care home, and we went, and they had a bookshelf there. They had about 7 or 8 books on bottom shelf. That's all they had. So if you do have spare books, don't just take them to charity shops. Your local care homes are probably crying out for books as well. Knock on the door and just say, can I give you some free books? They'll absolutely take them. And the elderly in there still read books. Some of them can't, obviously, but some of them do. And one day it'll be us in them care homes needing these books. So yeah, don't forget to give to your care homes and also your local prisons as well, because I'm a big believer that some people can be rehabilitated. And books are a fantastic way to find a healthy creative outlet. So if you've got a prison local to you, get in touch with him. Send some books there as well. Anyway, if you've watched till this point, I love you the most. Don't forget to subscribe, all that jazz. Unless, of course, you don't enjoy the content, then don't subscribe, because I wouldn't want to force myself upon you.